Welcome to the Minorities Report podcast. I'm your host, Antonio Alcazar.
And I'm the other host, Jason Technoir Studios.
All right.
So we're back at you again this week with another hit. What's the movie?
We watched Predator this time. 1984's Predator. No, I'm kidding. 87.
Yeah, there you go. I was about to have to slap you.
I was thinking of 84 because of the other movie that we watched.
Yeah, for sure. Talking about. Yeah, for sure. So here we go. We're going into another classic, another Arnold classic. We got two, of the three movies we did, we're doing two Arnold ones. I'm sure there's more on the list to come since you were not an Arnold file like myself growing up.
Yeah, well, I mean, the other Arnold movies that we have are just like the sequels of this shit, no?
Nope, there's other originals too.
Like what? Total Recall? I've already seen that one.
Okay, you've seen that. Commando, we can do that.
We're going to watch Commando?
I mean, it was a fucking hit in 1984.
All right.
And there's a few others too that we'll talk about coming down the line. But yeah, this was a movie, man. Let me tell you, this was a movie. This was like if you look up. So the other day, I just wanted to see, and maybe my mind was clouded with like where this movie sat. So I did a search for 1980s action movies, and it was like number 10 on that list. And then, but right underneath that, it said sci-fi action movies, and it was number 1. So it was the top 1 on there.
Did they put Terminator?
Yes.
They put this above Terminator?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, absolutely. So here we go.
Terminator was what, 85?
No.
84?
The original Terminator?
84.
Fuck. No, 86, right?
86?
Yeah.
It was like Terminator and then this back to back?
I think, yeah, dude, Arnold was pumping them out back in those days,
yeah,
dude.
For sure.
He was just cranking out, like, I think every year almost in the 80s he had a movie.
Jeez.
So, yeah, he was killing it.
They were working him for sure.
I mean, why wouldn't you, right? The dude was fucking king shit.
Yeah, he was king shit for sure. That you got the impression of this movie that he that
dude, we're going to get into this shit. We're going to get into this shit. So, okay, so we start off and it's like kind of weird because it's in space. And I want to put out this
very weird first start.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, every time I watch this movie, I forget about so much of the movie because I only remember like certain portions of it.
Okay.
And like the beginning.
I'm going to ask you what portions you remember.
We're definitely going to talk about that. So the beginning portion I always forget about until this time I remembered because I remember forgetting about it in the past.
Okay, sure.
Which is kind of funny.
And you're
right?
talking just the scene where like
the spaceship.
Yeah, just flies.
Yeah,
and like drops something into Earth.
Yeah, and it's like the Predator.
Yeah.
Or not the Predator, just Predator.
Sure, but Predator, when he drops down, was that like 50 years ago?
No, it was this year. So way past this movie, we learn about the predator hunting cycles and stuff like that. So they go in cycles.
They explain what that girl was saying.
Yeah.
Because that girl was just like, oh, they come when it's
usually
most
yearly
hot or some shit.
And when it's really hot and stuff like that. So
I was just like, has this thing been around?
Yeah, no,
guess not.
So. Yeah.
Can't wait to watch more Predator movies and really understand the lore.
Right. The lore is deep as fuck. Let me tell you that.
I bet,
and
all lore is deep as fuck.
Of course.
Especially your lore that started in the 80s.
So the Predator, like this one, is just here right now.
Okay.
But predators have been on Earth hunting for a long time. And of course, sequels get into that.
Yeah, all right, cool.
So the movie cracks out. And basically, to give a quick synopsis of this film, it's about a crack team of badasses that are sent into
Unbelievable badasses.
Yeah, well, we'll get there. They're sent into South America to rescue a head of state or some bullshit like that for the CIA.
They didn't even know it was CIA at that time. Yeah.
Right. Well, no, by the CIA, though. Like, Carl Weathers is a CIA member, so they know that they're connected to the CIA is getting in on why this mission is happening.
Gotcha,
like they know that already,
yeah.
And so they're sent in there. Things go poorly. They kind of find out that they're not really there for that, and then they turn into a group of dudes getting hunted. Right, exactly. And that's what the basic movie premise is. Sure. So the movie starts off, and after the little alien scene, the real movie starts, right?
Yeah,
and the music plays.
Yeah.
And it's just like the music and the list of names.
Sure.
I know exactly what I'm in for, right?
Yeah.
Like I know exactly what I'm in for. And when they fly in,
When they're getting out of the helicopter, I was
Dude.
just like, oh my God, could they be more fucking heavy right now?
So, like, it gives you like this Vietnam feel. For me, it does definitely a Vietnam feel right in the beginning.
I was thinking more, and it's more accurate to the like time and location, but I was thinking more like Contras kind of shit.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you're supposed to think, right? Yeah, absolutely. But these are all Vietnam veterans and shit like that.
Yes,
so
and they go into that a little bit.
Yep, they do. And we're so these guys get off right, and the fucking. The outfits that these guys are wearing are so all over the place, right? Like
I loved it though.
Right.
What's his name?
Billy Duke is in a fucking suit, bro.
Is Billy Duke Mac?
Yeah. He's in
when
a
he
suit.
gets out, I was just like, I dig that shit.
I fucking love me some. So like, you have Jesse Ventura get out, and he's like ridiculous, and all these different guys are getting out. You know, Arnold is in his fucking polo and shit. You know, with his, I noticed the CIB. He's got a fucking CIB badge, a combat infantryman's badge. So what that's awarded to is if you were an infantryman and your unit came under fire during a conflict, you win that. You have that badge. So that's a little like nod to like you know veterans and stuff like that. Like we know that.
Oh wow,
so,
they were trying to go like.
I mean, so like okay, so this movie is like really so hard to like go with, right? Because there's little things like that, and then there's crazy other things that we're gonna get into.
Yeah.
And then he sees the general that he's like has an old connection with, so you would know right off the bat that he's.
Was he a 2-star general?
Yeah, he was a 2-star general.
Is that because he had 2 stars on his hat?
How long did you serve?
I didn't know.
All right, so then he runs into, of course, his old buddy Dylan.
Yeah,
and you get the most asinine handshake of all time.
Now,
fucking good.
I didn't. This is again one of those treats that I get for going through these old movies with you, is that I get to see where a lot of this shit comes from that is used in popular, like in.
And this handshake is like...
I laughed so hard.
There's so many ridiculous memes of it. Like, I've seen memes where it's like, it causes like volcano explosions and shit like that. Like, it's so fucking good, man. It's so fucking good. Like, I felt like watching this movie, this is the movie that this podcast was made for. That's like how I felt watching this shit. Like Alien and Terminator, I felt like we were gonna be like, the problem with those movies is they're just too good.
Yeah, they're good.
And, this is the type of shit that like I was like getting coming into watch.
Where you like you have this like great, this is what made movies good back then, and I was just like, oh boy.
Right. So then you get all the different personalities, and of course you get the nerd with glasses. Of course you got to have that guy. Every guy is like a character.
And the nerd with glasses, he was still fucking people up.
Everybody was fucking people up,
for sure.
man. Yeah, exactly.
Like, he was a nerd with glasses, but
he was like the communications guy.
Yeah, for sure.
So so now we're gonna get. I like to do this a little bit later, but I got to get into a little bit now some of the behind the scenes.
Oh, I actually have a couple of notes this time where I'm gonna ask you specific things about. Do you know what the fuck they were thinking when they did this shit?
Okay, so every dude in this movie is like ridiculous cut, right?
Yes, they're all jacked.
Like this is like the thing about this movie is like this is.
I thought I saw a roll. On Billy.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh, he must not really be cut, you know. And then at the in the later portion of the movie, takes his fucking. I was just like, no, everyone is
cut. Like the only person who's not ridiculously cut is Billy Duke, Mac. Okay. And he's just fucking huge though. Like he's a huge man. Like in real life, he's like 6'4", like 280 pounds and shit. Like just a big motherfucking dude.
Sure.
And so like everybody's like that. So this was filmed in Mexico. Okay. And Arnold,
I got a Mexican accent from the girl.
Definitely.
What's her name? I forgot her name.
And it's supposed to take place in South America, no big deal. But so they
then, it was all
Mexico. Of course. So the place that they were staying at didn't have a good workout facility.
Okay.
So Arnold paid to take over this whole hotel.
Okay.
Gutted the first floor of the hotel.
No.
Flew in all of his own workout shit. And worked out every fucking day in the morning before they went and filmed.
Fucking be kidding me.
No, man. I mean, you got to remember Arnold is the shit.
Yeah, at this point. Especially then. Yeah, he was the king. Dude.
So Jesse Ventura, I remember like there's so much harassment of Jesse Ventura and this and that from Arnold and all this and that because he swore he was stronger than Arnold and all that. Of course, yeah. Because I mean, all these dudes are like
Jesse Ventura was a wrestler.
Yeah. So Jesse Ventura, however you feel about him politically, was a certified badass. Okay, in real life, he was a Navy SEAL before there were Navy SEAls.
Oh, really?
Yeah, before they were called Navy SEAls, they were like, I forgot the actual name because I wasn't in the Navy.
Yeah.
But like, there's a name like these like explosive expert like, but that's what became the Navy SEAls. He was that in Vietnam.
Oh, okay, cool.
So he's a certified like badass, real life, sure. Right? Yeah. And then he was a wrestler and all that shit. He did all that shit later. Okay,
sure.
So.
And then he was a governor. There were 2 governors in this movie.
Yeah, that's true, of course. And Billy ran for governor as well, and he did not win.
Oh,
so
yeah.
They used to work out all the time. Here's a funny fucking thing, though. Okay, yeah. Carl Weathers, which is Dylan.
Yeah.
You know, he used to brag that he didn't work out and that he was naturally gifted by the gods to be this crazy, like ridiculous.
Yeah.
So what he did was. He used to wake up 2 hours before everybody else, get a 2-hour workout in, or like an hour and 45-minute workout in, and then act like he was asleep, and then wake up with everybody so that they thought he was naturally that built.
Yeah. Wow. That's building your brand.
Yeah. Yeah. That's some fucking crazy
building
shit.
some mystique around your shit.
Okay. So another thing that's fucking over the top. How this movie got created.
Yeah.
Okay. So after Rocky IV.
Okay.
They were going to do another Rocky movie.
Okay.
The idea for the movie was that Rocky...
What the fuck?
Rocky would fight against an alien.
What the fuck? Okay, but that didn't end up happening.
That didn't end up happening. But people like the idea, so that spun into the early ideas for creating this fucking movie.
That's asinine. That's fucking asinine.
Oh shit! So that is some fucked up shit. Okay, so getting back to the movie.
Yeah.
They get their mission. Yeah. They know what they have to do. The head of some state is captured by these guys.
Guerrilla fighters.
Right, guerrilla fighters, thank you. And so they have to go rescue this dude. They start to go out. They find the crashed helicopter pretty early. And I forgot that guy's name, but the translator guy.
Oh, hold on. Wait, what translator guy?
Wait, I'm getting way ahead of myself.
Because the helicopter scene is pretty intense, dude. At the helicopter, so I'm here for it, right? Like I put the movie on, we're watching the shit.
Yeah.
I'm there for the ridiculous handshake.
Yeah.
Everybody's being way over the top. Okay, I'm expecting an '80s movie. I'm hoping for Terminator. You know, everybody's gonna be a little bit over the top, but that's fine. It's gonna be a good classic. And then we get some incredibly off-color jokes. And like...
I forget, because Shane Black, that's the nerd guy, he's always telling jokes.
Well, he tells 2 jokes, and they're both...
But you're supposed to take... You're supposed to take that he's the Joker of the...
Sure.
Because every military group has that asshole that's telling jokes and shit like that. So that's his character is the joke.
Sure, yeah. And his first joke is a little off color.
Both jokes are pretty off color.
It's just the same joke both times.
Right, just told differently.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay. But the moment he said that, I was just like, oh boy, I think I know what I'm into. And then Jesse Ventura.
Yeah.
Really.
So let me say this, okay?
This is chew. There's a couple of times where they're like chewing tobacco and also drinking whiskey, and I'm like, what the fuck?
That's supposed to, because you're supposed to see. I mean, it's clearly these dudes are larger than life badasses. Like there's like this is ridiculous. They're supposed to be like
Herculean. Yeah.
Right. Like this is a caricature of badass dudes, right?
Yeah.
Like. I mean, and he spits the tobacco on his shoe and all this shit, you know, and everybody's so fucking ripped and like and sweating constantly and shit. And the whole helicopter ride and you know,
but it was just that helicopter ride that really stapled what I was in for.
But here's the thing, right? You do realize that's like how real members of the military talk. Like you got to realize that, right? Like especially combat MOS guys are talking like that. If you ever want to here's the thing. On Facebook.
Here's my question though.
Go ahead.
My question. Why? I'm not saying bad even.
Yeah,
I'm just saying why.
there's like a brotherhood that's created, and so like from that,
But the brotherhood isn't what makes you talk like
I mean, yeah, dude, like gay jokes, all that type of shit, that happens all the time.
Yeah, but what that isn't created because of brotherhood.
I think it's created from, especially in the 80s, that like bondage there and just the shitting on each other sort of thing. And like, it's definitely not something I would do today. Like,
Sure.
I've grown as a person today. I would never make like a joke, derogatory joke about homosexuality and stuff like that, because homosexuality isn't a bad thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
The jokes are the implication.
The implication, and that's why like it took me years to learn why that was a bad thing.
Sure.
Because you're making fun of somebody as if they're bad because they are gay or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like but I definitely didn't know that growing in the 80s. Like I didn't understand that at all growing in the 80s.
Yeah.
And like I definitely have told some off-color jokes back in my day, you know. So I think that's all that is like, I think if you ask Jesse Ventura today, he wouldn't say some shit like that.
He'd probably
right?
be like, yeah,
that was
a product of my
right,
time,
exactly.
guess,
So like, it's definitely one of those things. Like, it's definitely a product of the time. But I would be shocked if there weren't plenty of infantrymen and stuff like that talk like that today.
Sure.
So
just because it's like really just fun to just be shitty like that.
Yeah, and just to be anti-cultural and be anti-society.
Edgy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
absolutely. And so that's pretty ridiculous. And they do their helicopter drop and all that shit.
Sure,
the rappelling and all that stuff, which is pretty good. So
also the Indian character, the Native American character, Billy.
Yeah.
They really made him an Indian. I mean, like that was like, could there have been more of a stereotype?
I got
but
that.
They were all pretty stereotypes.
He's like. Of course he's the fucking tracker.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Fucking course. Sure, yeah. Of course he's got the little, Indian pack. Of course he's got a gigantic knife.
Yeah, a little pouch that he's got on his chest. Yeah. I laughed out loud when he started rubbing that shit.
Like the only thing he's missing is like some feathers.
Feathers?
Right. Like
for sure. Also, I wanted to ask you, what's up with the camo lines on their face?
Yeah, that's like, you've never taken camo, like, instructions and stuff like that. But like that's definitely like, that's not like, that wasn't great camo, but like that is definitely something that we did. Like you would definitely put camo on and learn. You actually do like courses to learn how to do camo correctly and stuff like that, and black out your face and whatnot.
Sure.
So to blend in and shit like that, because all camo in general isn't made to be like, I'm standing across you from the room, I can't see you.
Sure.
It's like, from 1,000 yards away, it's harder to see you and shit like that. All camo is like that because your eyes cannot see that great from.
Yeah, even if you have like a ghillie suit on, if you're right next to me, I'm going to see you.
Of course, of course. I mean, like, there's ridiculous movies where like the guy crawls up right next to the person.
Yeah.
That's
in this movie that happens.
Yeah, well, that's we'll get to that ridiculousness. But okay, so you get to there, and then they do find the crash chopper. They start to realize something's kind of fucked up. He kind of says something to the one guy, I can't remember his name. The translator says something to Dutch about there's a crash here. There's something weird with this helicopter, though it's not. And then Billy talks about how there were some other U.S. military personnel boots and shit like that. So something's weird. Then they bring up, after they kind of talk about that, Mac brings up to Ventura.
Blain.
By
the way, they're lovers. Mac and Blain are lovers.
What?
Mac and Blain are lovers in this movie.
Get fucked. All right, so he brings up to him, like, remember Afghanistan? And you know what that got me thinking was like, fuck, man, what a nice time when only the Russians were in Afghanistan.
Sure. They probably had a very special time in Afghanistan.
I mean, killing Russians, helping teach people.
I'm telling you, man.
Shut the fuck up. So, anyways, and then my next.
Oh, hold on. Before we move forward, I want to make a point now to say that in the last 2 movies that we've watched so far, I've loved the score.
Yeah.
In this movie, the score is atrocious. It was obnoxious the whole time.
It's
that like
because
the
it's
drums.
So
I hate it. Like I was just like I wish that I could.
Me up.
I wish that I could take the music bar and just like put the volume down on just the music.
It pumped me up. I'm gonna be honest. Like it got me like fucking going, bro.
Yeah.
And then so like you get another scene that I love, the scene where Dylan falls and then Mac's on his ass and Mac's like, "You ghosted us, motherfucker."
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I don't care who you are back home.
Yeah.
Do it again. I leave you here. You know?
Yeah.
That's some real shit right there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like
because that guy's like CIA. Like that guy's like
yeah, they don't give a fuck about that guy.
Sure.
That guy
if
is.
you die out here, whatever.
Yeah, an accident happened or whatever,
sure.
right? And like that is like some realistic type shit right there. Like if a dude was like fucking over like a unit like that or something shit like that, you'd get
especially if he's not part of the crew.
Yeah, you'd get confronted and like, dude, you better get your shit together or an accident's gonna happen. So like, anyways, I like that scene.
I'll tell you what, man, that's pretty terrifying.
I love Mac. He's probably one of my favorite characters in the movie.
Yeah, I'd say he's probably my favorite character in this movie.
So like, okay, now before they track down the guys, they come across some bodies.
Yeah.
And they realize something's fucking weird here with these bodies.
Yeah.
Like these were
they're skinned.
Right.
Yeah.
And they were U.S. military guys.
Sure.
And they're under the impression that the guerrillas skinned these U.S. military, but like hung them up from trees, and it's like, what the fuck?
Sure, yeah.
So now they're really pissed off, you know, because they're even Blaine's like, payback time, you know, like.
Sure, yeah.
So they get to the guerrilla encampment.
Yeah.
And then proceeds to be one of the top 10 most asinine 80s action scenes ever.
You know what though? I loved this scene.
Of course.
This was
it's fucking
maybe
outrageous.
the only part of the movie that I really loved.
It was like
it was outrageous.
Yes. Like even you get to Arnold like working on this truck.
Yeah.
And even the people in the movie are like, what the fuck is he doing?
Yeah.
Like it's so ridiculous. And then they assault this place, of course. You go to the lengths of giving Arnold a CIB badge.
Uh-huh.
You go to these lengths to have like somewhat accurate uniforms earlier in the film.
Sure.
And then you get to this action scene that is so preposterous.
Yeah.
It's like
But this is what you were talking about at everybody being Herculean. Like they just ran in and everyone is just
gunning from the hip. Like just hip firing everywhere. Letting loose fucking grenades everywhere.
Yes,
now,
every other person has a rocket launcher.
And like, okay, and I want to point out, like, Billy has a shotgun detachment for his M4.
Hey,
M16.
Blaine Ventura, he's got like a Gatling gun.
He literally has a minigun. And what's more fucked up is, so you have Mac, who has the heavy machine gun, and then Blaine has even heavier machine gun, right?
Yeah,
like,
for sure, yeah.
This is fucking outrageous, man.
Yeah.
Like, and so
that
like,
thing looked like it was doing some work, too.
I mean, like, he's just like, and it's just like mowing motherfuckers down, bro. And like, I know you've never seen a grenade go off.
No.
But this is not how grenades go off.
I've been told that there's no fire.
There's no fire. Yeah. There's no like gasoline style explosion.
Sure, yeah.
That's all bullshit.
Yeah.
But it was so ridiculously funny to. And then
How many shots of people falling out of stuff? Like 15, 20?
Yeah.
Just like, just these long shots of people falling.
There's some lines here that are so ridiculous.
Yes, I wrote those down too. Yeah. Which one was the...
The first one, of course, is Arnold. He's about to get blindside killed by a guy, throws a knife into him.
Yeah, and he said,
into the wall.
Stick around.
Stick around.
Yeah, for sure. And then the knock really made me laugh too. Oh, but
the
my
fact
favorite,
that you kick in the door and you're not instantly firing to kill the person, but you stop to give a line.
Yeah,
that's 1980s.
My favorite line, though, the one that I laughed out loud, was, "I ain't got time to bleed."
Dude, that is like the Herculean type of shit right there. Like he's like literally bleeding out his arm.
Yeah,
you're bleeding. I ain't got time to bleed. You got time to duck?
Yeah. And I'm just like, I mean, you're bleeding. Yeah. You know, so like, even if you don't got time, it's happening.
Yeah. It's just such a great scene. Like so ridiculous. So
it's hugely over the top. Yeah. Like it's hammy fun for sure.
Yeah. You know, and the funny thing too is like everybody's like got these badass fucking rifles, and then Carl Weathers has this little MP5, like just like.
Sure. At some point, he's got 2 of them, right?
Right. Well, that's way later, but yeah. So then you figure out that like there's something going on here because not only were these guerrillas here, but the CIA. There were members of the CIA here and Russian military advisors here. Yeah. So. What the fuck is actually going on here? And this is kind of when Dutch kind of pulls his friend.
Confronts
and
Dylan.
Like, he's like, "What the fuck, dude?" You know. And Dylan gives him the whole like, "We're expendables" line. You know, you guys are expendables.
And then Arnold was just like, "I'm gonna save this for later.
Yeah.
When I'm like 70, I'm gonna make a movie called The Expendables." Well, thank you for saying that.
Yeah, for sure, exactly. And then most of these people are gonna be in those movies too. So
really?
Yeah. Well, definitely a lot of them because I think Carl Weathers is in one. Arnold's in it.
I think
Billy's. It's something we could talk about. I don't know if we'll watch it for this fucking show because it was pretty terrible. But
I mean, this wasn't great.
Well, get fucked. So I love me some Billy Duke, man. I love me some Billy Duke.
I'm telling you, Billy Duke was the best character in my opinion.
So now this sets up. We start to see something really fucking cool. The Predator vision.
That's cool to you?
I fucking love.
Oh my god, dude. No.
The infrared.
I had so many problems. The infrared is everything about the way that the Predator sees is fucking dog shit. And like I had a huge problem with the pacing of this movie because of how much fucking Predator vision there was in this. Through the whole Predator vision, I'm just like, this is a cheap effect. It doesn't make sense that a hyper fucking perfect hunter would have this kind of vision as his only vision. As an overlay, I get maybe, but like this is the only way he can see. And man, are they dragging these scenes.
I like it because it's symbolizing this dude being a hunter.
Yes.
Hunting the ultimate game. That's why he doesn't kill people without weapons. Mm-hmm. He's only hunting.
Which, again, if they're trying to get away from it, why don't they just drop all their weapons?
Because if you notice, he doesn't really do anything until these badasses kill all these fucking dudes, right? Like, he was picking off some other people. These badasses come in, kill all these dudes. Now he's like, this is the fucking shit right here. This is the hunt.
But there's a scene where Arnold points that out.
Yeah.
Where Dutch goes, no, don't pick up a gun, drop it, leave it. When dude gets hit with the tree trunk.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to chase you if there's no sport to it.
Right.
And then I was just like, if you know that, why don't you all drop your fucking guns?
I think because it's too late for that. Like, I don't think so. Like, the Predator is clearly like a smart creature as well. Like, it's not like a dumb fucking creature that's a robot that's like, dropped gun, I can't fire. Like, it still knows like there's so much more Predator later on down the line. So it's kind of hard for me to like take myself out of this because you're like, why does it only have the fucking? It doesn't only have that vision. Yeah. It has other forms of vision.
Well, in this movie, it only had.
It only had that vision. Yeah, and that's so like.
I'm sure that they got better.
So let me,
or at the very least, that they really made the Predator more.
I want to explain it like this, and this is what made sense to me. Because you're not a hunter, you might not like totally get this, but like, it's easy for us to go hunting a deer with a rifle, but there's tons of people who go hunt deer with bows, even though it's much harder because they want that challenge.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's more. So you can look at it as the Predator's
almost more respectful.
Right. Exactly. Like, so the whole like, and this isn't explained well.
That's why I really love the scene at the end of the movie where the Predator like took off its gun.
Yeah.
And took off its mask.
Yeah.
And because you get a sense of just like,
this is 1v1.
You've earned a fight.
Yep,
you know?
And this is gonna happen, and because I'm going, you're this group's ultimate.
Yeah.
So we're going 1v1.
Yeah.
And
hold on, we're getting way ahead of ourselves.
No, we are, of course. And like, I look at it like this Predator is looking for a challenge, and so that's why he's hunting in certain ways that you might be like, that doesn't make sense because he has the ability to fly fucking anywhere he wants to in the universe. Like, of course he's got other vision, but he's hampering himself to be like. That's why, like. Right. I mean, there's literally no reason for him to set traps with voices and shit like that.
Yeah, what was up with that?
Yeah.
The voice traps.
Right. So that is
Were those voice traps?
Yeah.
I thought it was just like poor editing.
No, it's definitely voice traps. Yeah. Like he's and again, it's to get. I have to always pull myself out of the knowledge of the other movies.
They must explain that.
I mean, like deeply. It's really fucking awesome in later movies, but like where he sets up people and shit like that. But like He doesn't need to set a trap at all. He could jump down, fucking laser blast a couple people, throw his spear at a third one.
He'll probably glass the planet. Really.
Right, exactly. Oh, we know he can glass a ton of this shit, right, because of his bomb. But
yeah.
You get the sense like, okay, so like you get the Predator vision. If you didn't like it, cool. I thought it was cool, especially for the time.
Sure, yeah.
Like in the 80s. It's cool to me, and then he starts to finally attack at this point. This is when he finally starts to attack, and of course, the first one to bite it is the nerd dude.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
like
yeah.
he gets fucked up right away.
He gets fucked too.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
he gets his shit pulled out.
Yeah, no doubt. And then so now we start the hunting part. So we start losing guys one right after the other. You lose the nerd.
Yeah.
The next guy to go down is Jesse Ventura.
Yeah.
Pursues to
Which, by the way, his death.
Yeah.
Where you find out that that Mac and Blain were lovers and all that. That death moment is probably the cheesiest thing I've ever seen in any movie. The music and the flask are insanely cheesy. Like I was watching this and I was just like, they could have taken this entire thing out. Like this.
Yeah, but then it's not an 1980s action film,
dude.
Like,
but this was just like
okay. So now I'm gonna
like
get
the music sounded like the swelling music in Independence Day.
You're getting ahead of yourself because this is after he dies that music kicks in.
Yes.
Because so he dies, they blow down half the fucking thing.
Yeah, right? That scene I also liked too because they all just ran up and started shooting nothing.
Just unloading grenade after grenade after grenade.
They like took down half the forest with this fucking shit.
Yeah.
Also, it was really well filmed because I really did get a sense that they were really shooting up that forest.
Yeah.
Like the real damage was
no doubt. And like so then they definitely like hit the dude. So here's the thing I don't like, but it's because it's being saved for later. Of course, we know this woman speaks English, and she sees the blood. It's clearly like blood or something like that, but doesn't say anything.
And she knows it's blood. Right. Because later on she says, you hit it.
Right. Yeah. You hit it or whatever. And he gives it the whole, if it can bleed, it can be killed or whatever, right? But like, that should be like revealed right there. Like she's now seen this thing kill two people for sure.
Yeah.
Like, she knows it's something like...
They're clearly not going to let her go, so you might as well release as much information as you can to stay alive.
Exactly. So, okay. Now comes another fucking thing that I don't like. All right, so they drag Jesse. They drag him away, and then they start to go Home Alone style, and they're gonna set up all these traps and shit like that. Yeah. And then you get to the scene you're talking about, where they have the set. Okay, this doesn't belong in this fucking movie. Yeah. Because
where he like gives them a little kiss on the forehead,
right? And like here's this, and like all this and that, and then you're right. Sad military music starts playing. Yes, this belongs in We Were Soldiers, not Predator. Okay, right? Like this is fucking way out of left field. Like I was, I forgot about this scene when I like watching it, and I was like, what the fuck? What is this scene edited out the last time I watched this shit? Like I totally didn't remember this shit, and it's just so ridiculous that like
Yeah,
it was bad.
It was bad.
It was really bad.
I was just like, hey, director, who made this? I don't know who made this, but I was like, hey, director, I don't give a shit about Jesse Ventura dying.
Right. And we're not supposed to give a shit, really. Like that's
you really, didn't set this guy up as a guy I was supposed to care about.
Right. Yeah. That was really bad. So then you get like,
I guess it was kind of setting up his motivation because Mac goes real crazy after that.
Yes. So then he shows up again. So we see him. He's already taken the nerd's body, hung the nerd up to die or whatever. Did the same thing with the skinning and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then they set up all the traps.
Yeah.
The traps go off.
Yeah. Hold on. Before the traps go off.
Right.
Two things. The first, what the fuck was Mac shaving himself for?
Dude. No, that's the thing throughout the whole movie. He's constantly doing
He did that 2 times.
No, 3.
On the airplane or on the helicopter. And then
twice on the ground, too. He does it 3 times throughout the movie.
Yeah.
I love that.
I only noticed it on the helicopter and then one time there where it just like snaps.
I always was going to do, because then that's when the tension, that's the 3rd time. So I was always planning, like with a bunch of friends of mine, to do Gen Con cosplay.
Yeah.
As the guys from Predator. I was going to clearly be Mac.
Sure.
And then just be shaving constantly. He likes a clean shave, bro.
Sure, I guess. And then the other thing that I have about this moment was they get to the choppa.
Yeah.
I didn't know that this is where this came from.
Oh, that's way later though.
No, that was
they're going to discuss it. They're going to discuss it and shit like the scream part that we know from everything else is later. But because they can't
when he tells the chick.
Yeah, and because they're behind lines that they're not supposed to be in, they can't get evacuated, and that's where their whole problem is coming in.
That's why they have to like hunt back. Because,
right, exactly. They have to go back through the valley so that they can get to a point.
Because it's funny because you always hear people do the Arnold accent by saying "get to the chopper."
Right.
And I admittedly I haven't seen a lot of movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it, but secondly, I didn't know where this was coming from.
For sure.
It was very cool to see that.
Yeah.
That was just another one of those. It's another one of those treats.
Yeah.
It's like I'm finally filling out a lot of this like library.
You got
of stuff.
two episodes ago. You got I'll Be Back, and now you got Get to the Chopper. So so then you get like they do the whole like stupid scene that were you fooled by this scene at all, that you thought he was actually killing the predator with the knife and stuff like that? Or what did you think he was fighting?
So here's the thing.
It was so clearly a pig, right?
I didn't know what was happening.
Oh, okay.
I thought the predator was killing him.
Oh, okay.
I was very disjointed when I was watching it, and then I saw him stabbing things, and I'm like, okay, so he just went crazy.
Yeah.
And then when they showed the pig, I was just like, okay, this was just a filler scene.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, I didn't have any clear idea about what was happening. Right. I thought the predator was stabbing Billy. Was stabbing Mac.
Yeah. So that scene happens, and they steal his body. Yeah. And then so that he can do his whole thing or whatever. And then that's
because he's collecting the skulls.
Right. And that's when they really realize what this thing is doing. It's a hunter and this and that, blah, blah, blah. That's why it's picking off everybody one by one. Yeah. And that's kind of like when shit hits the fan. Mac loses it. Mac goes after him.
Mac loses it.
Right.
Yeah.
Dylan goes to help him, and
then Mac gets got.
Yeah, and I don't like that scene.
Yeah.
Because
they've built him up.
Right. And not only that, you're almost telling me this predator has no weaknesses whatsoever. Because he's fucked up. He's doing something in the corner, and they've snuck up on him. Yeah. And the predator's like, "No, this is another trap."
He's like, "No, I'm just kidding with you." Boom.
Right, exactly. I got you again. I don't know why, but it just frustrated me a little bit. Maybe it's because I like Mac, whatever. Sure. But it's more that this thing is almost invulnerable. It cannot be tricked in this and that, which makes the later stuff even more weird, right?
Egregious.
So then you got Mac down.
Yeah.
Quickly after that, Dylan goes down, of course, with his two guns. That's when he has the two guns.
Yeah. I really liked watching him die because it was so over the top. I was laughing.
So ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure.
That's right. Yeah.
He starts shooting. Yeah,
right.
Yes, exactly. The slow motion screaming was it was so good. That was one of the few things that I really enjoyed all of the over-the-top stuff.
Yeah.
In fact, if I'm really looking at the stuff that I liked and disliked, I liked all of the very over-the-top stuff.
Yeah.
And I disliked when they were trying to be serious.
Yes, we'll get to that in the end here, but I have a lot of the same complaints.
Yeah.
So at this point, they're continuing their plan to try to get to this chopper to get the fuck out of here with the asset, and everybody else is running.
Yeah.
And then they get across that bridge. Here's my thought.
Okay, so hold on. Yeah, for sure. No, give me your thought, and I'm going to give you my thought because this is a big thing for me too.
Billy's like, I'm done. I'm 1v1 in this guy, right, with a knife. Yeah. Okay.
And up until this point, Billy arguably has been an enormous badass.
Yes, and smart.
Yeah.
And he's fearful of this thing. He feels.
But he's more acute than everybody else.
Right, of course, because he's a tracker. Yeah, so he can smell something's wrong, something's different, this and that.
And he's primal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I know it's a movie.
Yeah.
But wouldn't it be a good idea to just push that log over? Then they could just mock it from across the thing, whatever.
Good luck.
Hey, see you later, Invisible Man. Yeah, right, exactly. But by the time you're over here, we're gone.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
So he hits him with the 1v1. But go ahead.
Now, this 1v1, dude.
Yeah.
So Billy takes off his shit.
Yeah.
And throws his fucking gun.
Yeah.
And takes out his knife.
Yeah.
And just grabs his fucking his beads.
Indian power beads.
He has power beads. And he just cuts himself across his chest.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh shit, yeah, dude. You're about to get some fucking revenge. And then he just dies off screen.
Yeah.
It's the most unceremonious death after the most ceremony possible.
Yeah.
They literally did this entire sequence.
Yeah.
And then just killed him without. I didn't even get to see it.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. I was just like, you robbed me of what could have been a good scene. And specifically, the one scene I would have cared about. Yeah. I would have loved to have seen these guys 1v1.
It's weird, right? Because we've seen every other death, really, too, right? Every other Predator kill.
They did Billy dirty, I think.
Yeah.
Because I cared.
Yeah.
You finally, through your egregious clownish bullshit, got me to care about one person.
Right.
And then you didn't even let me see it.
Right. Then on top of that, he gets killed, and they're like almost the fuck out of there. And then, oh wait, no, here's the Predator, and translator, he's just fucking dead. Like, not even like, just like, oops, he's shot in the head.
Just like pop.
Yeah, done. And then, Arnold gets hit too. And
although, like, it is blowing holes in everyone's body.
Yes.
Hit Arnold, and it's just like
in the shoulder.
He's got like a scrape.
And he's got like a mark that's like a square mark or a triangle mark.
I'm like,
it's just like,
did it not blow his arm off like it did to Dylan, dude?
He's just out of control Arnold.
Right? Yeah, for sure. And
like,
then that's when he screams, "Get to the chopper!"
Right. And then he goes off running, and then he fucking falls down the thing and whatnot.
Yeah.
And like this,
he falls down the waterfall. Right?
Yes. Yeah. I kind of like this because like Arnold's this larger than life like badass, and he's getting his shit pushed in by this thing, right? Like it's something about that I like.
Sure.
And it's just this thing is fucking relentless, bro. Like so now we're gonna get
doesn't give him any time to breathe.
Right. Like he gets down there and he's fucking like in the water. Boom. He gets out of the water,
and he's just like, okay,
I'm fucking fine.
Yeah, yeah.
What the fuck, right?
Immediately.
So now I'm gonna get to like, okay, you can have some complaints.
Another egregious shit.
I love this scene.
No, I hated this one.
The scene of the fucking Predator coming out of the water and his fucking cloak short circuiting was fucking amazing to me. I have like a toy of this and stuff like that. Like, it's the water emergence demon and shit. That's like what they call it or whatever.
Yeah.
It's so fucking cool to me. Just like the way he's like partially camouflage, partially see-through, wet. Right. It's like short circuiting everything. This looks so fucking cool to me. And it's in the 80s. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, if this was put out
This is where your 80s nostalgia is hitting you hard.
Yeah, man. I was fucking loving this scene, right? And then Arnold starts.
What is this? This was 87, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you were a lot.
I was 7.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, like that was too young because like my parents didn't let me watch rated R movies at 7.
Sure,
so,
yeah. But by the time you saw this, that you were still young.
I was like 12, probably, something like that. So I loved it.
Yeah,
so then you have the whole like he finally figures out like
the most egregious shit of the whole movie. This is the worst thing in this movie.
That the mud?
Yeah, that a tiny fucking layer of mud kills his whole thermal system.
Yeah.
That's egregious. That to me is just like
that's 80s. That's 1980s, right?
That to me is like you really did not think this through. This was just fun for you.
I liked it.
I'm a big fan. Oh, that, but that's
the mud
that's
is
what makes
fucking
you
awesome, man. That's
what makes you nostalgic, Like you're literally you're putting on your clown shoes.
Oh.
But you like are doing it on purpose, Like that you're putting on your clown shoes with this one because
all I have to say to that is I'm loving it.
Because like this is a hunter.
Yeah.
Like a space hunter.
Yes.
Who maybe wants to make it difficult on himself or whatever.
Yeah.
But his thermal system is so shit that the tiniest bit of mud on a human being makes it completely inoperable.
I mean, he was covered in mud.
No, fuck that, dude. That's like I wrote this down as like this is the worst part of this movie.
Okay, so I gotta get like something that broke to me at this scene, right? Like, because quickly after this, we see him like. Again, this is another complaint I have. Sure. Now we get round 2 of Home Alone setting the traps. Right?
For
like,
sure.
We've had this once already. Now we get another version of this, right?
Yeah.
And like, this is the scene where I was like, wait, this is filmed in 87. And I was thinking to myself, like, about him. Dude, Arnold in this movie is my age right now. 40. Yeah. He's fucking 40 in this movie. This dude looks ridiculous for 40, man.
Yeah,
like,
for real.
And so, like, we get this whole scene, him getting ready, badassness, and then the scream, whatever. Yeah. So it brought me to a YouTube trick I played on someone once, a friend of ours, and there's a YouTube video of him doing this for 10 hours.
What, the scream?
Yeah, just over and over, and then it's actually like 9 hours, 59 minutes, and like 50 seconds, and the last 10 seconds is the Predator reacting like so all right, so then we go into like the whole like the end, the fight between them and whatnot, which I enjoyed a lot. I'm sure you had problems with it, and there are some like really weak looking shit, like the dude, like I love Arnold, like
oh no, go ahead.
Making his bow and shit like that.
Yes.
And he's just like,
yes.
Like,
the whole time it was like he was bodybuilding.
Right.
It was I couldn't stop laughing when he was putting the mud on.
Right.
It looked like he was looking in a mirror.
Right.
And I was getting like this weird disjointed feeling.
Yeah.
It really looked like he was in a mirror.
Yeah.
And I had to keep reminding myself that he was just staring forward doing that.
Right, exactly. So ridiculous. And then he starts to get the best of the Predator and shit.
So when he's fighting the Predator, the thing that I wrote down was the Foley work for the punches.
Yeah.
Is ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh my god!
Like every punch was like.
You're talking now. This is when they're like 1v1ing and shit.
Yes. When they're fighting, every punch is like worse than a video game.
Yeah.
You know, like I couldn't believe that this is what they went with.
It's rough.
It's like Batman 1950s type shit.
Yeah, it's really
or
rough.
1960s
It's really
type
rough. And eventually, of course, he gets the best of him by dropping the fucking block on him and shit like that. You know, and he's able to trick him.
All bleeding out and shit.
Yeah, exactly. And then he sets off the bomb.
Which, again, my maybe second least favorite part of this movie.
What?
Was the Predator laughing.
Why?
Because what the fuck?
Oh, yeah. So that's because he's copying Billy. Billy, when he reacts to the dude's laugh, that's Billy's laugh. That when Shane Black cracks the joke about being inside twice.
Oh.
And then Billy reacts by laughing.
Yes.
He records that, and that's what he plays at the end.
All right.
I know, it's so ridiculous,
I don't necessarily dislike it now.
Right.
I just, in that moment,
it's very awkward.
I'm like, the Predator is laughing.
Yeah.
Like a human being. Like, he just was so human in that moment that I was just like, this fucking scene can get fucked.
Yeah.
But him replaying Billy's laugh,
yeah,
I do kind of like that.
That's literally just Billy's laugh being replayed, right? I know, because it's definitely like weird until you put two and two together. Yeah. It's kind of like that whole like "fuck you asshole" from the Terminator, where it's a callback to an early.
That you also had to explain.
Yeah, for sure. So it's just that's his voice recorder replaying that shit. So
that's fine.
Yeah, and then he gets killed and he sets off the bomb because he can't have any trace of himself. That's like what later in movies, they always do that to cover up themselves or whatever, you know, because they don't want their weaponry and shit like that going into the humans' hands. And
Got
stuff
it, yeah.
So, because they kind of fostered Earth and shit like that.
Oh, wow. There's some deep lore.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that maybe we'll get to, maybe not.
Sure.
So, all right, a couple things about this movie also besides this.
Yeah.
This movie, to make, cost $15 million.
It looks like it cost $15 million.
Yeah, and they made $100 million off this motherfucker in box office. So that was quite the turnaround. You know, all behind the power of Arnold and shit like that.
Yeah.
So, the Predator.
Yeah.
They originally wanted for the Predator Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Okay.
And Jean-Claude Van Damme was interested in stuff like that until it was like, I'm going to be in a suit all the time. And he tried working in the suit, and it was like he was passing out in it and shit like that. And it was just, it did not work for him. So he walked away. Yeah. And then they got a guy that was 7'2" instead to play that.
7'2"?
Yeah.
He's a tall dude.
Gigantic dude.
Yeah. I looked him up. Yeah.
Yeah. So what ended up happening was
he died too. Really
yeah. Because he was another creature too, and I can't. Was he the alien as well? He was definitely another creature like that, a larger creature. Yeah. And I remember. They were gonna use Jean-Claude, and then when they had Jean-Claude standing around everybody else,
isn't he like an actually short guy though?
Yeah, like 5'6". Yeah. And then you can't have him with like the next shortest dude is 6 foot tall.
Yeah,
you know
and Arnold's like 6'4", and
Ventura's
like 6'4",
exactly. They're like 6'5". Yeah, exactly. So they couldn't do that.
I really liked that scene when the Predator, after taking off his mask, grabs him by the throat and lifts him up and pushes him against the wall.
Yeah,
because. Damn, that he looks like a Titan.
Yeah,
like he looks like a Spartan.
Yeah, he's like a gigantic fucking thing. Yeah, for sure. I can't imagine the Predator being short, obviously, because I've been so used to it.
Sure.
But like that would be such a
tiny
weird
little munchkin.
Yeah, like just but they wanted because Jean-Claude Van Damme was so physical. Yes. Now today, like you could probably take like a Ray Park, and then like he be like the action of it, but like resize it and stuff like that because they have the ability to do all that shit.
CG,
look at fucking Josh Brolin played Thanos, right?
Yes.
You know, like
look at every Marvel movie,
right?
Vision, even Black Panther, they're all CG the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. For the most part, that's what it is.
I mean, unless they're standing around, if they're moving in any way, they're CG. Spider-Man, it's all CG.
And I mean, like you can definitely play with things because like Ray Park is like I think like 5'8". Yeah. And
which is not short.
Liam Neeson. Okay. Liam Neeson is like 6'1".
Yeah.
And you don't even notice that Maul is smaller than Qui-Gon until there's one scene when they're fighting the two of them versus Darth Maul, and you can see how short he is as he's like fighting. But like anything before that, you don't, because they have so much better tricks. Yeah. But like to do it back then would have been crazy. So the guy's name was
of the there was a. I think I'm getting actually I won't say that, but I was able to suspend my disbelief a fair amount in this movie, even though the scenes were fucking bad. I was able to suspend my disbelief.
So let's talk about positives or mostly negatives.
Yeah, positives or negatives.
So off the bat, one of my complaints, we've already kind of talked about it. The seriousness after Blaine dies. It's just, it's fucking annoying because you're just like, this doesn't belong in this movie.
Unless you accept the fact that there was something there.
Yeah, exactly. No. So the movie, if I had any problems with the pacing problems from the last two movies we did, this one is much worse in every single way. Yeah.
The pacing is egregious in this movie.
Right. Like everything leading up to everything leading up to the gorilla assault, I thought was great. Like getting to that part was great. Showing, and you need that because you need to show how fucking badass these dudes are, so they get housed by the Predator. You realize how powerful the Predator is. Yeah. But everything through that was like so like good. Like this is an 80s action movie, and then it turns into a hunting movie on top of that. It's almost like two movies and shit. And, and one is like this slow, methodical killer, and the other one's an action movie. You know, and it's very. That was very hard for me. Like you know me, I'm a very much a pacing guy, and this was fucking terrible. The pacing was terrible in this movie. Did you felt that way too?
I felt like it was dragging in so many ways. Like there were parts where I was legitimately falling asleep. Yeah. Where like I'd be like, okay, come on. You know, there was a lot of moments.
The hunting, everything in the hunting.
Yes,
it's just
all the hunting scenes.
You're just like,
and it's funny in Alien, that was the thing. That was where the movie started slowing down for me too, when it got to the hunting stuff. Right. Because all of a sudden it's just like they're building up and building up, and I'm just like, yes, I'm here for it. And then they're like, and now it's the methodical hunting shit. And I'm like, you don't know how to do this where it's engaging, bro.
It's problematic, and the end is just really long. Everything from like the second Home Alone trap setting to the end of that, that's like 20 minutes, man. Like that is way too long for that shit.
And it really is like 20 minutes. Like I was checking how much is left here.
Sure.
And it was like 20 minutes when he is screaming. Yeah. There's still another 20 minutes of movie.
That was problematic for me. But those were pretty much the extent of my problems. But I'm sure you have a longer list.
Well, I mean, so my problems with the movie are the same. Pacing is off. Some of the off-color jokes at the beginning were a little were just like they stood out, you know.
I think that's only because you don't have a lot of military connection. I think because I have that, like that didn't hit me as like weird other than his one comment about slack-jawed, you know. That was like, oh yeah, fuck, I forgot that. We don't use that word anymore. But
that's what I mean. Like those things just hit me a little harder. Sure. And maybe it's because I've never been in a situation where for sure. Everybody's kind of like living it, but it still was rough to like this is what I'm into. Now I am kind of happy that there wasn't a lot of that. It wasn't a ton. There were 3 instances of that, and 2 of them were right away. Yeah. So it was a smaller deal than it was, but I wrote it down because it was so just like jarring.
I got you. Yep.
The pacing I already said. Just how like I didn't give a shit about any of the characters. Sure. And they kind of played it like you should give it a shit about all the characters, and I never did. I just enjoyed the really silly things. And I'm even going to say that I disliked that I liked the parts that I liked because I was laughing at them. Yeah. You know, like the part where...
Because they were ridiculous.
Yes. Where Carl Weathers dies, where Dylan dies. Yeah. I was laughing. Yeah. And I loved it. Like, I loved watching him die. He was doing such a ham job. Right. But... you're not supposed to like that shit. Right. You know, you're supposed to like it because it's cool and visceral, and that is not what it was.
After 2 movies with some great acting, we got this acting.
Right? For sure.
And I kind of told you this last time we talked. I was going to say this is going to be one that's going to change things a little bit. So
Yeah, so this is the first one of the 3 movies that we watched that I have just gone.
The first half of this movie is the ultimate 80s action movie.
Yes, up until the end of the Contra stuff.
Right, exactly. And like that is 80s action to the extreme, and then it turns into a sci-fi thing after
kind
that.
of schlocky.
So, right,
real slow schlocky stuff.
Exactly. So, okay. So, overall, what would you say about this movie? Where's your recommendation at?
Overall, I'd say I don't recommend people watch this. If you haven't watched it already, this is one you can skip. Unless what you want is to get the really nice things about what we're doing for me, and that it's just to see pop culture references kind of firsthand.
Right.
But if you don't care about seeing like the origins of pop culture references, you're not going to gain anything from this movie. This movie is not going to be one of those just like cultural milestones.
Yeah.
This is just going to be like a little bit of a waste of time.
Yeah. So for my thing is, you might find this shocking, but I'm going to mostly agree with you. I think
that is shocking, actually.
If you're from the 80s, if you know these people and stuff like that, you've obviously seen this movie. So I can't recommend it to people, because if you're like 20 years old, I don't see how you watch this movie and you enjoy, like, I don't want to say enjoy it, but like, you're not going to find the things that this movie is doing interesting, in my opinion. Like, you're going to be like, what the fuck is this, right? Like, and I think that's going to be the overall attitude to most younger people taking a look at this film. And older people have already seen this film. If you want to know what we liked in action in the 80s, this is a great example of it. But I think there's even better examples of it than that we're going to get to later.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it does that well. The only way I think that this movie is recommendable is to somebody that's falling down the Aliens and Predator route. Yeah. And they want to see everything from the beginning. Yeah, that's why you would go this way. But this is not Alien. No. This is not something that's
not something you put on to watch a good movie.
Right.
This is something you put on for some agenda that you've got, but not to watch a cool movie.
I agree. Like, as opposed to like even Terminator, that I felt was a step down from what I remembered it as, it was still a crazy sci-fi, very original style of movie that this movie is not. Yep. It's taking many things done before, like The Deadliest Game, and just changing it to being an alien that's doing the hunting. Yeah. But we've seen hunting movies plenty of times. Yeah. It's just an alien doing it this time. So
and it wasn't even necessarily compelling.
I love Predator. Okay, the creature.
Yes.
I love the mythos behind it. It's my favorite alien style of creature and stuff like that.
Really?
Yes.
I'm really excited to
know more.
See why.
Right, yeah.
To understand
it's just very cool to me.
Yeah.
But this just does, like, this is not one that I would be like, you need to go out and watch it.
Sure,
so that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah. All right. All right, everybody. Well, I hope that you liked this episode of Minorities Report. If you want to give us a like or a comment or engage with us in the comments.
What'd you think of it? Let us know what you thought of Predator. If you enjoyed it back in the day and now you rewatched it and it's just not as rosy as you remember it.
Yeah.
Or if you do love it. If you're like, no, this is the same fucking great action movie I remember from my childhood. That's cool too.
Or if you disagree with anything that either of us said, I'd be happy to engage you guys in the comments. Here's another thing. I want to address specifically why we recommend movies at the end of the show.
Sure.
It's not that we're recommending to the people who are listening to it.
Yeah.
It's that we're saying, if in real life we're talking about this movie, would I recommend it?
Yeah.
It's just saying, like, is this a movie that you could recommend to people?
Sure.
We're not directly recommending it to the people who are listening to the movie.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. Well, we will see you next time. Thank you for listening, everybody.
We go live next week. You can tune in when we go live.
We're not going to go live next week.
Wait, what?
I always tell you we're not going to go live.
No, it's live.
This is a recorded show. Don't tune in to anything. We're not going to be live.
Long tall Sally. She's built so sweet. She's got everything. Fuck the Chinese. I'ma have me some fun. I'ma have me some fun.